Good God! Like bloody paint stripper, that tastes. How the hell can anyone eat that?
It's lovely, man. You're just a wuss.
It's remarkable what human beings can get down their throats. My Uncle Cled used to drink Brasso when there was no mess about. The bloke who did his post-mortem said he had the cleanest esophagus he'd ever seen.
It glittered like an aluminium bicycle pump, he said. I've still got it in the attic.
Where does lime pickle come from, Fig?
The Belgian Congo boys. They use it to clean elephant tusks with.
Are people supposed to eat that?
Well, supposed to is a relative term, innit? You're supposed to clean elephant tusks with it, but it don't say you can't eat it. At least, not in English, it don't.
Well, I'm not eating any more of it, I can tell you what.
I will. Well, I suppose it's an acquired taste.
Listen to this, Richard. Mr. Adam Mosley of the Immigration Department told our reporter that the immigration officials have turned down a final appeal against deportation from Mukhtar Rahman, aged 85, of the Ring of Fire restaurant Compenor. He's had over 70 years of living here illegally. We must send a message to these people, said Mr. Mosley. Mr. Rahman is to be returned to a remote hilly region of the Punjab where his family once owned a donkey. He has been told to be ready to leave within 3 days.
That's Imran Rahman's dad, that is.
Well, what's he supposed to do in the... wherever they're sending him? You've lived here all his life, man.
Dad, don't worry, it must be a mistake. It's bound to be.
That chap! Immigration! Look upstairs and look around down here. Come on! So, you refuse to tell us where he is?
We don't know where he is, Mr. Mosley. He's got Alzheimer's disease. He could be anywhere.
We'll be back. Come on!
Come on, Dad.
So you've been widowed for 49 years, Elsie?
Yes, Mary, to the day.
Remarkable, Mrs. Hepplewhites. 49 years without the release of sexual congress. Yes. It seems like only yesterday that your dear husband passed away.
It was before you were born, Vicar.
Is it? Who am I thinking of, then?
Your wife, Vicar?
I can't remember. It's the booze, you see.
Maybe you should try to cut down, Vicar.
I have cut down, Mrs. Coles. I only had 4 pints this lunchtime. I don't normally like vodka, but...
My brother Kedwin was alcoholic as well, Vicar.
I am not an alcoholic, Mrs. Hepplewhites. If I was an alcoholic, could I do this? Oh, I'm so sorry, Mrs. I am an abomination. I am useless. I have no role to play in this godless community. No one has any respect for me.
Well, it's hard to have respect for someone who dances about with their trousers around their ankles in a shopping centre singing Living La Vida Loca, Vicar. It's a naturally belittling image.
A valid point, Mrs. Coles. I have no one to blame but myself. Away then to seek comfort the only way I know how.
You're not going to a brothel, are you, Vicar?
No, Mrs. Hepplewhite. Heaven forbid. I am just going to get plastered with the other men with drink problems outside the public urinals. Good day to you, ladies. Oh, Mrs. Coles, I'll pay you for the cider on Sunday as usual when I get the collection money.
I know I can trust you.
Oh, all right, Vicar.
Good day, Constable.
Hey, you're not going to urinate on the postbox again, are you?
No, Constable, it's not hygienic. Even I can see that. I'll use an empty cider bottle and put it up on top of the bus shelter roof like the other men do.
Oh, fine. All right, ladies.
Hiya, Claude, love.
How are you, dear?
Oh, very good. I proposed to Oral Annie last night.
Oh, how wonderful.
Did you get down on one knee, Claude?
Well, I had to, Mrs. Cole. She was still in her box under the bed.
And did she say yes, Claude?
Well, she wanted some time to think about it.
Fingers crossed, then.
Have you heard any more about that raid at the Ring of Fire yesterday morning, Claude?
Imran Rahman came round the station earlier to ask Sergeant Ball for advice.
It's disgusting persecuting an old man like that.
Sergeant Ball is most put out by it. He don't like officialdom. He says it's his duty to look out for the little man, and they don't come much littler than Mr. Rahman Senior. Well, he's no bigger than a ventriloquist dummy. They could throw him back to India, Sergeant Ball reckons.
Imran's coming to the house tomorrow to do some business with Richard, so I'll find out a bit more about it.
Good, Mrs. Hepplewhite. Yeah.
Now, Claude, what can I get you?
18 packets of prawn cocktail crisps, 6 bars of white chocolate, 9 cream puffs, and a choc ice, please, Mrs. Coles. And is my copy of Nicholas Policewomen in yet?
I'll check. Keep it under the counter.
Claude, don't they have special places for alcoholic vicars?
Well, yes, Mrs. Hepplewhite. Pubs.
I was lucky we'd been keeping him in the toilet the last few weeks. They just didn't look in there. It was fate.
Aye, as you say. How come he was keeping the old man out in the toilet in the first place, then?
Let me put it this way, Richard. He has eaten literally nothing but mutton fowl for the last 40 years.
Oh, I see.
It sounds cruel, but it's not. He's got Alzheimer's. He's not aware of his surroundings. As long as he's got his iPod on, he's happy. He's into hip-hop. I think he's confused it with hip-hop. Anyway, as I say, they came back again this morning, ransacked the place.
Did they get him, Mr. Rahman?
No, they looked everywhere. They even looked under my wife's burqa. Not even I have looked under there in, must be 10 years now. My wife tells people I'm effeminate. Compared to her, I am.
She's the perfect argument for a veil.
Indeed.
It's the beard that does it.
I tell you, it's like kissing Desperate Dan.
Where's your dad now, Mr. Rahman?
Well, he was outside Ninian Park last night. He'll be in a lay-by outside New Tredegar tonight.
How?
He's wrapped up in a carpet strapped to the roof of my cousin Hassan's halal burger van.
That must be a nuisance for him.
Hassan doesn't mind. He has to slow down a bit, taking sharp bends, but I just couldn't think of anywhere else to put him. I'm desperately worried, Mrs. Hepplewhite. My father would not survive being deported. He's been here for over 70 years. The furthest he's been since then is Treorchy, and then he thought it was Kabul. He was Never the sharpest tool in the shed, even when my mother was alive. Allah rest her soul.
I remember Marjorie Rahman, Dick's as was. She was a lovely woman.
Yeah, but these mixed marriages never work.
Asians and Welsh, you mean?
No, men and women. It's traditional, I know, but after she died, my father just deteriorated into what he is today. A puppet with bowels. He's been in this country all this time and he can't speak a word of English. Yeah, let them learn Punjabi, he says, matter of principle. To take him to India and just dump him there, it's tantamount to murder. Well, euthanasia in his case.
No, this isn't right. You can't have the government breaking into respectable people's homes and spiriting them away. They could do it to anyone. They could do it to you, Mum.
I'd like to see them try.
They took my mate Leroy's dad away like that. Early morning raid. Leroy and me was in Parkhurst together. Shared a cell. Lovely bloke. West Indian he was. We used to play Cluedo with the other blokes in the day room, like. He said it was ironic, a bunch of murderers playing Cluedo. And whenever it was anyone's turn to suggest who done it, they always said, well, it wasn't me.
Well, why did they send his dad away, Fig?
Armed robbery.
Oh. What can we do about it then, Fig?
Nothing. It was 20 years ago, son, and they had him on camera.
Mr. Rahman's dad, I mean.
Oh, I see. Well, it might be a good idea to go and see the immigration people. They might see reason, you never know.
I'll go. I'll catch the bus.
Me and Charlie will go with him, Mrs. Hepplewhite.
Oh, thank you, boy.
The man in charge is called Mosley, although I don't hold that much hope, but it's very good of you.
What are friends for, innit?
Ah, this is the lime pickle. My God! It's too hot for human beings. I'll serve it in our Ferndale restaurant.
I'll give you a ring when Mum and the boys get back.
Thank you.
Hello? Is anybody here?
Come on, we'll look for ourselves.
What's this? How did you get in here? This is my private office.
We've come to talk to you about Mukhtar. Isn't this Adolf Hitler?
This? No. 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 It looks like the Führer. Adolf Hitler, I mean, but no. No. No, this is just a man who looks like the few... him. Very much like him. It's uncanny, really.
He's addressing a mass rally, isn't he?
Aye, look, there's big swastika banners, look.
Yes, but there were other rallies held there. At Nuremberg at that time. Not just the National Socialist Party, you'd be surprised. This is a baker's convention. Yes, you see, he's just asked them, how high do we want our dough to rise? And they're all saying, this high! It's not mine anyway, it was here when I came. What do you want?
We've come to ask you to reconsider deporting Mr. Rahman.
I see. Well, I'm afraid you're too late. The case has been looked at and the application turned down. It's a done deal. Anything else?
But he's lived here for over 70 years. His wife was Welsh.
Yes. Marjorie Dix. Our file shows that they never married. They lived funny. If they had married, things, as you infer, would be different, but they didn't, so there's nothing really to discuss. Now, I like a curry as much as the next man. Ask the boys in Ammanford. But this is Wales, not the Khyber Pass. If you know anything about Rahman's whereabouts, tell me now or it'll be the worse for you.
Come on, Mrs. Hepplewhite. We'll get no change here.
sorry, Imran, love.
I expected no more, Mrs. Hepplewhite. It's a cruel world, but you tried.
So, where's your dad now? He's not still on top of the roof of your cousin's van, is he?
No, I moved him. He's buried under the silage heap in my garden. I know it's not ideal, but there's 2 tubes leading to the surface, one for air and one for mutton fowl. I've asked my next-door neighbour to keep an eye on him when we're out. We're at a loss.
Hey, you can bring him here.
You sure?
Aye.
Yes, he'll be safe with us. No one will look here.
I'm very grateful. It's all been so hard to take in. Finding out my mother and father are not married means my wife was right all these years. When can I bring him?
Tonight.
Aye. You all right, Mr. Rahman? Mr. Rahman? Mukhtar? Ma'am, ask him if he's all right.
You all right, Mr. Rahman? All right to you?
I'm the man they call Mr. Undercover Lover. I got class, I'm a classy mother. I'll make you jump, I'll make you sing. Ha, ha, ha.
He's fine.
I thought Imran said his dad couldn't speak no English.
Was that English?
Aye. Well, American it was.
He can only speak hip-hop.
Hey, he's like E.T. with attitude.
Hey, can you imagine him on his own in a Punjab? They'd probably think he was a pop star.
And he doesn't smell that bad either. I've smelled worse. Your grandfather smelled worse. We used to have 2 vultures hanging around on our clothesline when he was sunbathing. We didn't have deodorants in those days, see?
Aye, I remember.
Personal hygiene's very important when you're a prostitute. My man used to bath once a week regular, or at least she'd have a good scrub in the sink. Ah, she was a stickler for cleanliness. If she was driving along in a fast car, she'd hang her knickers out the window to dry.
What a good idea.
Hey, listen to this.
So, Mr. Mosley, you say you will not rest until Mr. Rahman is caught. Caught and shot. No, not shot. I didn't mean that. That would be inhuman. Deported is what I meant. This case seems to have become something of a cause célèbre for you. Oh, what? It's become personal. No, I am just following official guidelines. This Rahman and his cohorts have set themselves up against the great machinery of the Reich. I mean the state. No, I mean authorities. He's going down.
It's like bloody Russia, isn't it?
Did he fit in?
Just about. It's like if we had that old water tank in the Arctic.
Hey. Is his head above the waterline?
But there's no actual water in there, Fig. It's just an empty tin box, like.
Oh.
Ah, he's fine.
They're bound to find him wherever we put him eventually. It's a vendetta, man.
No, Fig. A vendetta is a sort of ice cream butt.
Aye, all right.
What will we do, Richard?
I don't know, ma'am. I don't know. We're stuck like flies on flypaper.
I'm going to talk to Sergeant Ball.
Good idea, ma'am.
Me and Charlie will come with him, Mrs. Hepplewhite.
Yeah, I'll go and check on Puff Daddy, see if he's still breathing.
This Mosley man is most unpleasant, Sergeant Ball. He reminds me of my mother's second cousin, Conway. He was a horrid man, too. I never met anybody so mean in my life. He was so mean, he broke into the house next door to gas himself. This was when you could still gas yourself at home.
Those are the days. Anyway, this Mosley character, he's a well-known nutter. Started out with the DHSS in Tollanpandy, where he made a name for himself by refusing heating grants to the elderly. Eventually, he became too nasty and vindictive even for them, so he got transferred to the Inland Revenue. He got promoted to his present position from there.
We thought he was a nutter when we went to see him.
We don't want his sort round here.
Indeed. Confronting is a hotbed of old socialist values.
My husband George and his father were ardent communists. His dad went to fight in Spain in 1938. He never actually got there because he was arrested for stealing a handbag in Cardiff Station on the way. The spirit was willing.
Aye, well, Mr. Hepplewhite himself have been redistributing wealth in the area with gusto for many years, haven't he?
Oh dear, I am being pursued by, little people. What do you call them?
Oh, little sods!
Go on, push off. I know where you live.
Shut up, Falky.
You all right, Vicar?
Well, it's a relative term, isn't it?
We've been discussing Mr. Rahman, Vicar.
Yes, terrible, terrible affair. I wonder if you could get the top off this bottle of cheap brandy for me, Charlie.
Aye, all right. Can't you do something about Mr. Rahman, Sergeant Ball?
I'm afraid I'm unable to intervene in this case, son. I'd like to, God knows. I'd like to drag this Mosley from his car and pound his grinning face into gelatine. But, well, he's right. Technically, Mr. Rahman is an alien.
I knew it! I was just passing by and I felt drawn in here. At last we've caught one of them.
Mr. Coates, I was using the word alien in its meaning as a foreigner.
Of course, Sergeant Baller, I understand.
Where are they keeping him?
In an old water tank in Mrs. Hepplewhite's attic.
A sea dweller?
No, Walter. I'm sorry, Sergeant Ball, but Walter's mentally ill, as you know. Mrs. Coles doesn't normally let him out this early.
No problem, Mrs. Hepplewhite. When we wed, we have to accept our partners' little idiosyncrasies. My wife is a nymphomaniac, as you know.
Ooh, that is good. Hair of the dog. La vida loca.
I'm going to get dressed up in my best clothes and I'm going to go and talk to the alien.
And I have a christening to perform. This is Thursday, isn't it?
Wait a minute. I've just had a brainwave.
Yes, Mosley, what is it? A patriotic citizen? Go on. And he's still there? Right. Thank you. It's good people like you will help me save this country from flooding with foreigners. If you ever see me, say hello. I'll buy you a schnapps. Goodbye. Yes, gotcha. There he is! Grab him!
No one is grabbing anyone, Sunshine. Now you tell me what this is all about.
You know what it's about. I've come to get Mukhtar Rahman, that old man there perched on that painted commode, and enforce this deportation order.
Well, I think that Mrs. Rahman Sr. may have something to say about that.
Mrs. Rahman Sr.?
Yes, it has been my great privilege to unite Mrs. Hepplewhite and Mr. Rahman here in holy matrimony.
Did it great too, Vicar.
Cheers, Vicar.
What about a wedding license?
Sergeant Ball pulled a few strings.
You won't get away with this. It's clearly just a ploy, a trick to stop the old man being deported. It's a sham.
Oh, no, Mr. Mosley. My father and Mrs. Hepplewhite have been carrying on for years. It's a great unspoken scandal in both our families.
There's been another marriage here today as well. Constable Cox. And all Anne.
My God.
Oh,
On behalf of my beautiful bride and myself, I'd just like to say thank you.
Yes. Well, I don't know about the rubber woman, but if Mr. Rahman is married to a British citizen...
He's an alien.
What?
He's an alien. I heard them say.
Please forgive my husband, Mr. Mosley. He's got a severe personality disorder.
No. This man may have relevant, possibly even vital information. Go on, sir.
Well, they've been contacting me for years. I fulfill all their criteria, you see. Balding head, round wire-frame glasses, a strangely shaped face, you see? They feel they can trust me, although they always stay hidden. Often, they have just left somewhere a moment before I arrive. You get me?
Yes, anyway, I have no axe to grind. I have friends who are dark. Well, darker than me, anyway. May I take this opportunity to wish the newlyweds great happiness? Yes, here's to them. The newlyweds.
Thank you, Mr. Mosley. Please join us in our celebration.
You like curry, you said, didn't you?
Oh, yes, excellent. The hotter the better.
Lovely. Have a bit of lime pickle, Mr. Mosley.
Indeed.
Yeah, lovely, yeah.
It's the victory of good over evil, isn't it?
Your dad would have been proud.
Aye. Which one?
Hey, old Mr. Rahman's happy as Larry, Imran says. He's back listening to Snoop Doggy Dogg in the outside toilet.
Aye, well, it was a marriage of convenience, wasn't it?
There, the food was lovely, mind, wasn't it?
Oh,
aye.
And Mukta ate 5 bowls of mutton fowl.
Aye. That's why we had to put him outside.
He didn't mind.
He didn't know.
I sat out there with him for a while on the edge of his commode. And we chatted and looked up at the stars. And then Walter Coles came and asked him what he wanted here on earth. And Mukta called him a mean mother. And Walter wrote it down in his notebook.
That's very nice, Mrs. Hepplewhites. Aye, romantic like.
Hey, it says here that they're blaming that outbreak of foot-and-mouth disease last year on Osama bin Laden.
Really?
Aye. They reckon it was started by Islam.
High Hopes is back at the same time next week, and there's more comedy over on 2W in 15 minutes with Satellite City. Next here on BBC One Wales, an Iraqi heavy metal band in Imagine.